Incredible evening. Hello, everyone. Incredible evening. I am on just for a little bit. I was actually about to go home because we got Formula One and traffic is starting to get a little crazy over here by the office. But it's also mixed with a little bit of people just kind of getting home from work. So I'm going home, but I wanted some of this traffic to die down, and my mind just isn't really focused on work right now. So I figured, let's go and do a live Q&A real quick. Now, as much as I would like to be able to pass the time by until I can leave the house without all this traffic, leave the office without all this traffic. If there are no questions, we will end this one very swiftly. But I figured I would come on and do a Q&A to round out the week. So that's what we're going to do today. All right. So I am Shakeya, the professor of HSINK365. We are the home of the Honestly Speaking brand of products. You can find our products over at shop.hsink365.com. If you don't know, with our sublimation paper, you are able to sublimate as low as 365 degrees and as fast as 30 seconds. Also, with our paper, because it is a high release paper, you are able to use less ink. So with our paper, the settings that we recommend is plain paper set to like the highest quality setting. So this is going to not use up as much ink. Your ink will last longer. So it's all, it's great using our paper. And then of course you're going to save money on not having to have or use as much butcher paper. And I think they're starting to practice. I hear the cars because it does not bleed through the back. So if you're looking for a really great product for your sublimation needs, as far as paper is concerned, head over to the website shop.hsink365.com. All orders before 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, get shipped the same day. All right. We are also the home of 365 Creative Academy, where I help you to unlock your creativity in a wide variety of classes, like our 30-day training for Silhouette Studio. So Essentials to Silhouette Studio, Learn Silhouette Studio in 30 days is still our top class, and it will break down everything that you need to know about using Silhouette Studio. We also have files and templates and things like that through HS Ink Digital. All right. So that is a quick little rundown. So like I said, we are going to basically do a Q&A. So if you have questions, go ahead and drop those questions in the comment section. Drop a hey, how you doing? Let me know who's watching. Let me know what you guys are working on. How many of you guys are doing different things for graduation, and what specifically are you doing? You don't have to try and do everything that might be out there. You will burn yourself out. Trust me, you will burn yourself out trying to do everything as it relates to graduation. And then you go and throw in the mix here. Most of you guys are preparing for graduation, and then here's a lot of people asking, well, what do you have for teacher appreciation? So pace, don't overwhelm yourself with trying to do so many things if you know that you can't handle it. Okay. But this is a great time to just kind of get your business and what it is that you do out there, what you do creatively out there, how you can customize things. This is a great season for marketing your creative businesses. All right. So let me know what you guys are working on and drop any questions that you guys may have. All right, so I had to go ahead and get this all shared out So let's see. Let's go back over here and see if we have any questions or see who is on with us today. So let's see. Incredible evening, incredible evening. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, how are you guys doing? Thank you guys so much for joining. Hello, hello, working and listening. Hello from Houston. Let's see. Hi, I have a 7820. The maintenance box is showing almost filled. Will I have to replace it or empty? You will have to replace it. Let's see. I've been downloading fonts and I have no idea where they've gone. I'm trying to copy them to another computer. Any suggestion on the best way to do this? So if you're trying to move it into a different computer, I'm not sure. Wait, do you have a Mac or a PC? Because that makes a big difference. This is correct. So a lot of people think that it's about to fill up when in reality, you really aren't anywhere near the end of the life of your maintenance box. So it is backwards. If you don't do a lot of print head cleanings, you're probably not anywhere near the end of the life cycle of your maintenance box. Okay, so the best thing for you to do is going to be to actually if you want to just move over the fonts that you have installed on one computer, you're just going to go to that font folder and copy it and either save it to a jump drive or save that on a like a cloud drive or like your Dropbox, your OneDrive, things like that, and then open it on your other computer, and then you just have to install all of those. So let me see. Let's go over here and we're going to go to PC, users. It might be, I forget which one it's under. So we're going to go here. Actually, it might be under the other one. Yeah. Actually, no. Okay, wait. Where did they move it to? Because normally you go to users and it's normally here. Windows 11 is a little bit different in how this is set up. Okay, so let's see. Might be under, was it under Windows? Yeah, so now it's under Windows. So you would basically copy this and then you would have to select them all. So once you are viewing it and on the new one, you can actually just select the first one, like hold down shift, select like all the way at the end. If you want to do it that way. So hold on, it's acting slow. So again, select the first one, hold down shift, select on the very last one if you want to do like what you see on screen, and then you're just going to right click and choose install, and it will install those on the other computer. You have a fonts folder, but nothing's there. Is it your system font folder? Because it should definitely show all of these fonts under Windows. All right, so why is my print faded on coffee mugs? 400 for 60 seconds. Well, I can't say why it's faded. I need a little bit more information. Well, actually I can say that. So if you are pressing at 400 degrees for 60 seconds on a coffee mug, if it is a ceramic mug, you definitely need more time than that. It's going to take longer for that to heat up and for, because you have to have that heat and at a certain temperature to transfer that ink from the paper for it to gas off. So it definitely is going to take longer than 60 seconds to sublimate onto a coffee mug. So look at your paper. They should have a recommended temp and time for how long it will take for it to transfer to ceramic. So definitely check the temps and times on the paper that you have. Would you recommend a hard drive or a cloud drive, and what size? Well, of course, you have to have a hard drive for your computer, but if you mean as far as an external one or an additional one, I use a cloud drive. When it comes to just regular hard drives, we had an external hard drive before, and it can, like, that disk can get scratched as well. So it was kind of like annoying, and when we lost a lot of information and content. Now, even when it comes to the cloud drives, you still want to have a backup of a backup of a backup of a backup. We have a WD My Cloud. Luckily, the majority of my things are on the older one that is in house, and we can access it now. With WD My Cloud Home, they went through this thing. I'm not even sure. I think it is cleared up because I can actually access my files now. But for a while, we couldn't actually access it unless you were on the network that your cloud drive was on, because I think they got hacked or something like that. So there are pros and cons to both. You just want to always have a backup of a backup of your backup of your backup. Yeah, I've had mine for a really long time. I've never had to change a maintenance box, but I also don't do an excessive amount of print head cleanings. Well, I'm using Windows 11 and mine comes up. So make sure that you go to PC and then go into Windows. It used to be under users, but now it's under Windows. So go to Windows and then you should see your font folder. OMG, I love your post about your yard signs. When reading it this morning, I was like, this is what I need to post. I'm always overthinking. As I was reading, I was like, yes, I would like to display my senior that I don't have. Accomplishments. Yes, that's yay. Glad you got that from the post. All right, let's see. You are right. I have 2 externals and the cloud. Now, it can be a bit much trying to save it all. So some of them, you just have to really think of them as a backup in case you need it. So it's like just going in and just hitting file save it to the one, file save it to another, to where that's really just your backup. Or you could, if you don't want to save it each time, you have to create a system, or you have to create a schedule where you would copy those files from your computer, from your main storage to a secondary hard drive to be able to keep it. And I mean, you don't have to really do everything, just make sure that those important things that you really do have. You may not need to transfer over or back up every single custom file that is for a client, which is why when I'm teaching, I always teach my students to have your base file. And then when it comes to your client files, you're going to save those. So as soon as you open it, even if you open up or start with a template, you're going to go to file, save as, you're going to put that client's name on it and then save it that way. That way your base file always stays, intact. And that's something that you want to back up, is the base file. But you don't necessarily always have to back up all of your customer files or all of your customer pictures, like keeping that in like 3 or 4 different places. I got a new WD My Cloud and an external hard drive that I will be putting my files on. Had laptop over a month and have yet to set it up. All right, so once again, hello everyone. I am Shakeya the Professor. I am just doing a quick Q&A. So whatever questions you have, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the comments. If you have any questions for moi, I'm not going to be on too long. Well, my plan is not to be on too long. I'm just waiting for some of this traffic to die down by the office, because Formula One, it is practice day, so it is a lot of traffic out there. For me, and it's like going in the direction for me to go home. So I figured I would just come on for a quick Q&A. I haven't been live all week long, so I figured I'd just kind of let you guys hear my voice. Been working on some things in the background. So yeah, figured I'd come on and do a quick. So whatever questions you have, feel free to drop them. If we don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and close out the live. If you guys don't have any questions for moi. Don't be shy. All right, so I'm trying to finish my poster for my tribute slate table. I have it designed. Can I sublimate onto foam? No, you cannot. Foam board will melt if you try to apply heat to it. So no, you won't be able to do that. It is best for you to outsource it. You can get a print made, printed onto adhesive back paper or vinyl from places like Office Depot, UPS, even like Walgreens and things like that. So if you don't have a large format printer to be able to print that out, you can, or you can even also order it from HS Ink Prints, but that would require shipping and all of that when you may be able to get it, once you account for shipping and things from somewhere local. But you can order that from us. Just send us the email or go to a local print shop or Office Depot, UPS, or Walgreens to get that printed out. But no, you cannot submit foam board. What is a good program to use to open Photoshop files if you don't have Photoshop? Nothing. Photoshop. That's about it. Actually, I think someone said that you can maybe open them in Affinity Photo, but Photoshop files are meant for Photoshop. Yes and no. I don't think. Yeah, it's so crazy. It's the third year, but I don't know. Last year was a little underwhelming for me, so I don't think that we're going to maybe do it kind of like how we did last year. I'm thinking about some things, but I think it may be more so local. I'll probably put a lot more emphasis on doing things locally versus online. I can print it out, but I don't know what to print it on, like sticker paper. I mean, if you can, yeah, I mean, depending on how the size of it, if it's something that's really, really big, if you have a large format printer, there are basically just sticker. It's not like vinyl, like your regular sticker paper. You can take that, print it out, and then put it on. Cut out a piece of foam board that's going to be 8.5 by 10 or 8.5 by 11, whatever size that sticker paper is, and just put it on there. So you can definitely do it that way if you just rather print it in-house. But if you're trying to do it large, it is best to go ahead and outsource that print. I am a very big advocate for outsourcing. I know we, like, as creatives, we want to try and do as many things as we can do in-house, but I outsource prints, especially like for posters and things like that. I outsource those for many, many, many years. I finally caught you live. I really enjoy your videos. Thank you so very much. I'm in silhouette in 30 days. I've only gotten to day 4, but we'll get there. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. You are very welcome. And if you have any questions while we are live, feel free to ask them. If you have a specific silhouette question, now is a great time to ask that. Or if you have a question from maybe something you're not quite sure on in the 30-day training by day 4, I think let's see. I mean, I know a lot of it is just like kind of like the setup stuff. Let's see. Day 4. Oh yeah, we're still in all the setup stuff. So you haven't even gotten to the really good stuff. You're going to get into that day 5 where you're going to go through subtract and subtract all. Well, day 5 really is more so a lot of like just on the subtract side. And then we got into subtract all on the 6 along with crop and compound pad. Also, guys, I did just put out 2 videos. I won't be doing all of my tutorials like this, but I just kind of wanted to get you guys' feedback and see what resonates with you. And it might be just based off of your knowledge base and, what you already know about, Select Studio or like about printing and things like that. But we have 2 videos out over on Silaholics Anonymous's YouTube channel. So the thumbnail somewhat looks the same. The only thing that's different is one says quick tutorial, the other one says full training. And it's pretty much about understanding that print preview that comes up in Silhouette Studio. Now I turn mine off. I had to do that video. I'm actually about to get rid of 4.5. I can't deal with it anymore. So I was like, okay, let me make sure I do this video about print preview. I have to do the one, I realized the other day when I was like, what is the other thing? And it was that whenever I have transparent areas or I was using my fade bars, it was coming out as white and it was driving me absolutely bonkers in the fact that that area was coming out white when I was printing it. So I'm going to do that video and then I'm getting rid of 4.5 and going back to 4.3. But definitely check that out because one is kind of like straight to the point. Okay, hey, this is what's happening. You're going to click here. You're going to go here. This is what happens. Click the preview on your print settings and how you can turn it off. And then the other one, I really break down the why of it all and, what's happening with it. And I go through it a little bit slower. So definitely check those two videos out and leave a comment after you've watched both of them and just let me know which one resonates with you, which one is kind of like your learning style, a very detailed video or just kind of a straight to the point. And especially like if you watch the straight to the point quick tutorial and then you watch the full one, let me know if it's like, oh, wow. Now, now that you know something by watching the full training, does it change how you feel about like sometimes having just the quick ones and not really fully understanding things? All right. So no silhouette related questions. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I came on thinking that we would have some silhouette related questions. If there are no questions, we are going to close out. Okay, wait, we have one here. How do you edit nodes on an SVG? I had one last night that had cut lines and everything, but couldn't get nodes. So what's probably happening is that it is something that is grouped together. Okay, so we're gonna go like this, and an SVG is simply something that has shapes. So technically these two rectangles are an SVG, right? It's just scalable vector. It's a vector. And we're going to, let's do this. All right, technically they look the same, right? But if I double click on this, I cannot edit anything on it. I'm not going to get the edit points. Now, if I ungroup it, I now have edit points that I can adjust and move. Okay. So let's say like, even with this, I'm going to put you here. Okay, so I'm going to turn it off. Probably didn't realize something was there. If I double click, I still don't get it. So right now I can't see, it just looks like it's just a regular box, but there is something that's here. It's just technically not visible because they're the same color and there are no line colors to tell the difference between the two. But if I double click, I won't get anything. I double click over here, I will get those edit points. So if you double click and you don't see them, just go ahead and ungroup. And normally when you ungroup, like here, you'll see that something else was there. If you go and you double click it, you still don't get edit points, ungroup again. But now over here, these look a little bit, although it looked the same in the beginning, if I double click on this, I do get edit points because that is one whole compound path. So the edit points will come up. My Romeo has been set up for almost 2 years now. Oh no, the Romeo. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the Rolo. So the Roland. No, I have not set the Romeo up yet. I've kind of played in Leonardo and stuff like that just a little bit, but I have not fully set it up yet because we have some things going on in the area that I don't have room for it inside of my office. So I need to actually, it's on its stand. And I was debating on whether or not I wanted to do a whole full unboxing, and I probably won't. It'll probably, like the first video, it'll probably be completely out of the box and I'll just kind of go through like certain things, whatever. Me trying to create this perfect opportunity to do a full unboxing is just not working for me. But where I'm supposed to do it at, we are, there's like a lot of stuff over there because things are being moved around. So I did not have anywhere to actually record it because it does not fit in my office at all. I don't have a surface big enough for it. So I have to wait until that work area is cleared and then I attempt to do the video. All these machines with an R, I was thinking about my Roland. Yes, you have to ungroup. You are very welcome. All righty. Well, I don't want to hold you up if you guys don't have any questions. Thank you guys. I'll probably delete this. Well, yeah, because I think there's only really like, is it enough information to leave up? I don't know. I'll probably go through them and probably delete it. I'll probably listen to it first and see if there's anything I can kind of like snatch out of there. To make like little small videos with, but I don't think so. I'm trying to think about the questions that were asked. So, I just want to say thank you for all your sublimation lives that you have done. The way you showed how to tape these tumblers has been amazing. Awesome. That is incredible to hear. Thank you for that feedback. It's always great to know when that you guys are getting value from the content that I put out. So thank you so very much for that. That is encouragement to keep going because that means somebody is learning from the content that is out there. Maybe I'm doing such a great job at the content that you guys just simply don't have questions. You guys are not running into any issues like because of the videos and because of the classes, every design is coming out perfect. You are tracing perfectly, subtracting and cropping, and everything is just incredibly perfect. So that must mean I'm doing a really good job if you guys don't have any questions for moi. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and close out. Okay, wait, hold on. I was trying to put a line to close off a shape to trace. Finally, I remembered I had to detach the line. So thank you. Yes, you cannot just weld a line. It has to be into a shape. And you do that by choosing detach line. Correct. I sent 5 different people to your YouTube channel yesterday. I thank you so much for that, LaShonda. Appreciate it. That just, you sending someone shows that you see value in it, and it's a great place to learn and grow from. So thank you so much. I don't really have, so it's like I'm working on Mother's Day tumblers for my aunties. I will say, most likely, whatever you have on there is probably enough, but you, knowing who you are overthinking it, thinking that it's not enough. When it comes to stuff like, for me, if I'm designing something custom, a lot of times it's like off of like the person that I'm designing it for. It can be something as simple. I'm not sure if you're trying to add pictures to it. You can do something as simple as what they actually like without a name, without a picture. Everything does not have to have a picture on it. If they like daisies, a tumbler with Like a full wrap of nothing but daisies is perfect because they like daisies. If they like the color, they like the color purple, also a movie. Um, you know, if you can either go buy a tumbler that is purple, or if you're, you want to be able to submate the ones that you have, flood a whole template with purple and simply put their names. There are so many SVGs out there. You can create your own that just says something, if that person's your aunt. But you also have to remember, is it coming from you just in the fact that they are your aunts, or are you just honoring them as great women? So it doesn't have to be aunt, because to someone else, they are a sister, they are a daughter, they are a friend, they are a cousin. So that just really depends on, are you making it to say, hey, you're a great aunt to me? Or are you just making it just for them for Mother's Day and they just so happen to be your aunts? And like I said, find something that they like and just put it on the tumbler. Stop overthinking it. This is not about me, not answering those type of questions. I'm answering questions about designing and things like that. How do you save your color profiles and silhouettes if you need to reinstall them? I don't use any color profiles, so I'm not sure what you mean. Now, if you mean print settings, if you have to go to a different version, your print settings, your presets should still be there. If not, you're just going to have to go ahead and recreate them. But I don't use any type of color profiles. Oh, trust me, I know. You're going to overthink it. I know. You will complete it. Stop overthinking it. So I don't have my Mac to actually show, like, well, my husband has a Mac. I keep forgetting to do videos when I'm actually at home on his, because with the Macs, there was an update to where in order for you to see the drivers, there's like an extra step now. Now, what I will say is when you are using roll paper, you cannot use generic settings. Like, you have to go back in, you have to uncheck that, and then you have to go into the settings, set it for, like, create that page size, and then when you go to the settings, it'll be there. So it is different than doing your standard settings that will come up. Anything that is user defined, you can't have the use generic settings checked, because that's only going to bring up these settings that Epson has preset. So your letter, your tabloid, your legal, Super B, A4, like all those different ones like that. Anything that is user defined, you have to actually, it's kind of like the old setup for it. But I have to remember to do that when I am at my husband's computer. And that means I might want to take my microphone, because I don't know how that audio is going to come out. But I'm not really a Mac girl. I'm a PC gal. The colors that you save when you use the dropper. Oh, yeah. Once you changed it, it's going to go away. There's actually no way to do it. I talked about that in my live, my video about things I did not like, that those go away. The only thing that you can do is create boxes, and like you save that. So you'll have a file. So I talked about that in the live video. So see right here, this is a file, and it's like all of your custom colors. Oh, wait, it didn't open. Okay, why are you not opening? Okay, I don't know why. So you'll have all of your custom colors, and this will be a file that you can use. So then, like, let's say, let me see, are those there? No, these aren't here. So once you have that, you would be able to, I'm gonna move, well, unless you want them all as one palette, you would have to create each individual palette. But let's say, like, here, I'm just going to go pastel. And then we're going to highlight all of these and just hit the plus sign so that they go there. Now, you can select them all and hit plus, and they will all go there, even the one that has no color. But that's really the only way. There's no way to save them. But yeah, I just talked about that in my live video about things that the issues that I found with 4.5. I know this may sound weird, but I want to make some stole templates like your yard designs. Where can I just drop, where I can just drop in pictures and information, but I don't know where to start because I try to make everything so personal, but it's time consuming. Any suggestions? That's something that you are going to have to deal with personally because you want to make I mean, it can be personal and you're still basically just dropping the pictures in there. I mean, I am kind of like that as well, but I will take elements that I already have and just kind of rearrange them to make them, I guess you can say, different. It is okay to sell the same design to several people. I have a set of yard signs that were like that, like one of the very first sets of yard signs that I did, they were literally the exact same setup. And I just changed the name out. And depending on like their name, I maybe if I had to make like a section bigger or smaller or things like that. But for the most part, they were the exact same. And they were from the same exact school. So it is okay. That is something that you are going to have to deal with yourself on, and feeling like everything has to be one of a kind, especially if you are not charging one of a kind prices. Because like you said, it becomes very time consuming. So the best thing that you can do is to create a template and simply drop pictures in it, change out names and change colors. But you're going to have to practice that and be okay with it. So the next time that you are designing one that you already have, drop it in there, leave it be. Also, make sure that you do save the base one as the template. Try not to design off of like one that's like completely filled with someone's image, like, have all the elements as, if you're going to have, like I have here. Oh, wait, wrong one. So like if you're going to have like elements like tossing caps or someone like that, of course you want to have those, but everything else you would leave blank. So like if I was doing this one, I would have it to where maybe the grad, of course, this stays here. The school name, only because this is still in text mode. You can put, something, their school name here. And if you're using the exact same font, of course, leave it in text mode. This I don't think is in text mode, or is it? Yeah, this actually I've already I welded it, but you can have a little note that tells you what the font was, and just kind of have it that way to where it's just a place setting. If you're going to in Silhouette Studio, it's not like Photoshop where you can kind of just copy layer styles. You're going to have to do it every time that you type in a name. So you may want to just kind of have yourself a little note that says from the original text, it is a offset at, point one with, filled with white, transparency is whatever. You're going to have to write those things down because you can't just copy layer style like you would in Photoshop. Whatever the shadow is, you can always have that as a box. And hold on. So that way, the next time you go and type out text or make something, you want to have that same shadow behind it. You're going to go ahead, do your shadow. Don't even matter what's there. You're going to release the shadow, click on that back one, and then fill that in. So you'll have to kind of create notes for yourself as far as like what exactly the offset number was, and things like that. This one has a it's supposed to be like a highlight, but really isn't a highlight. So it's not quite a shadow either, but it has that element right there on it. That is something that for every name, I would have to, create for each name. There's no way to just make that transform over. It's not something you just click on to create that effect. You have to create it. So those are going to be the only little things that's going to be unique and different to each one in how you put the offsets and all those different things. But as far as like the layout of it, you leave it like it is, and you make sure that you are doing the same thing for each one. Whatever the offset was, whatever the shadow was, you do it for each one. I have a question. When so many keychains, do I press it at the same? Yes. So for me, almost every single substrate except ceramic, slate, things like that, acrylic, I press at the exact same temp and time. Exact same temp and time. That's the joy of honestly speaking summation paper. You don't have to worry about switching all these out. Oh, for this is that, for this, nope. If it's on a flat heat press, same time, unless it is ceramic or acrylic or like the slates and things like that. I use technically both. I don't really, so for my butcher paper, I use that more so because it's wider than the parchment paper that I use. So of course I use that when I am using shirts and I need to knock that line of demarcation from the paper out, I'll use butcher paper. If it is like, let's say if I really need to put paper in between something. So let's say I'm doing an all over shirt and I need to cover that area where the collar is. I'm not using butcher paper. It will go through. When I need to cover up certain areas, I don't use butcher paper. It's porous. The gas will seep through. A lot of times it's also cheaper. So if it's just something where I just need to catch the ink on the bottom, it kind of goes back and forth. I prefer parchment paper, but it doesn't come in the big roll like butcher paper. It's, smaller rolls. So I do try to not use those as much because of course it's going to cost me more. So a lot of times just to catch the bleed from the edge of the design, so technically like this right here is made larger than what the rag is. So when the rag is on it, I'm just going to turn this white. You have all this extra right here. So of course I have the butcher paper underneath to catch this. That's not going to get onto the rag itself. And I don't want it to get on my platen. So I will use butcher paper underneath. But if I needed to cover up or I really want something to not go through, I prefer parchment paper. And you have to have both, because if I'm doing something with vinyl, things like that, if I'm using the laminate, I prefer to press it to, I prefer to have parchment paper underneath because that's nonstick. If I press laminate onto something and butcher paper's under there, it's going to stick to it. It's going to rib. Paper's going to be on, so I keep both for different reasons in my workspace. In the 30-day class, when teaching how to use the program, do you teach some designing techniques also? Example, how you would use the shadow effect. Does that make sense? So, when you're going through as far as just what the shadow is, it's a shadow. So I'm not going to necessarily say this is when you use it, because there is no set time on when you use it. The last couple of days, we do go through different designs and stuff like that. I'm showing different designs. Some of them are based off of student questions. Like when we went through the one, someone had an image of someone with a cup holding a mug, and then we kind of customized that and made it look like the word. So there is some designing, but I'm not going to necessarily say in that particular training, it's you use the shadow to get this type of effect, because I mean, a shadow is a shadow. I've talked about it in Foundations of Designing, to kind of just create separation. It's just the look that you're going for. So I'm not going to necessarily say that. Essential to Silhouette Studio is about teaching you those tools and functions, where they're located at, what it is that they do. And you can, I guess, somewhat figure that out from, just in like what it is that they do. But yeah, not necessarily like using it specifically in a design. Do you have a start to finish on putting Silhouette on a new computer, including saving Silhouette files and such? Well, I have not ever really saved my Silhouette files in a location where I have to move them, which is why I like cloud-based. It doesn't matter what computer I put it on. I go to that drive and all of my files are there. As far as like if you have it just on a computer and you need to move them, there is no easy way of doing it, the same way that you would move your Word files. So you have to transfer all of your documents. So you're going to transfer your Silhouette files the same way you would do Word or Excel. You're going to, highlight them all, copy it, put it onto a, either a USB drive, or copy and paste it into a cloud drive that you can open it up onto your computer. But that is going to be the same. So I have one as far as like putting it on a new computer. I have the video where I show how to set up Silhouette Studio. That's really the extent of it. Anything else is normal, I guess you would say, like computer related things when you are switching to a new computer. So I won't say that I have this full one as far as moving Silhouette files, because I simply don't do that. For me, I save everything to cloud. So it's just a matter of putting it on your computer, logging into your library, and of course activating any stuff. Now, as far as backing it up, there is a video. I'm not going to say like it's kind of goes all together, I don't think. So I had a video where I talked about going back to a different version and then backing it up. There's some data, like if you have things saved on your local drive in your library, the only way for you to get that is if you did a backup. So that's the only thing I kind of go through. If you have files saved locally just on that computer, I go through telling you you either do a library backup and move that over, or you can do, if you want to have like your recovered documents, I show how to save that file from app data. But yeah, any Silhouette files, like if you go to your computer and you are looking at Silhouette files, if they're saved on your hard drive, it's going to be the same, like I said, the same way you would have to do any file. But for me, they're on my cloud. So it doesn't matter what computer I'm on. I go to my cloud and I have access to everything. How do you prevent your images from being stretched? Do not pull from corner nodes. If it's not going to fit, it's not going to fit. So why it ends up being stretched is because you're trying to force it to be a size that it's not. If it is something that was designed and it is a square, if you're trying to fill in a template or a shape that is circular or it's a rectangle, it's going to cut it off. If you try to force it to fit that shape, you're going to stretch it. Anytime you move or adjust from either the corner node or the top one, or if you go into your width and height and this is not locked, and you change the width to something and the height to a different number without moving it proportionally, it is going to be stretched, smushed, or skewed. There is no way around that. The only way to avoid that is to always only pull from a corner node. And if it is something, so let's say I wanted this, I'm going to try and fit this into here, right? If I push this up like this, because I want her whole entire body to fit in there. Well, this one somewhat kind of work. I mean, no, so no, she's going to look squished. All right, so I'm going to undo. If I were to shrink this down proportionately, see, it doesn't fill the whole box. The moment you do this, you've stretched it. No way around it. Which one is the class that you teach how to fix photos? I do not teach how to fix photos. There's really no way to fix photos. Now, I have gone over things like if you want to remove like certain objects and things like that, that would be in the Photoshop image editing. But I'm not going to say to fix photos. If it is a low resolution image that someone has given to you, it is simply going to be a low resolution image. There's really nothing that you can do about that. Now you can, remove certain things, like removing someone from it or removing a background, things like that. But if it's grainy, it's going to stay grainy. I will say, I guess the other thing that you can correct is like maybe color. So you can adjust like the tone, the white balance, colors and things like that to maybe make a picture appear brighter. But as far as, like I said, if it's low resolution, nothing you can really do about that. Some people use an app and it's like, what is it, Rimney, something like that, but it's AI. So it's going to try and pull from like the internet and stuff like that to kind of fill in certain spaces. But when you do that, it normally only adjusts the face. So you're going to have like a really smooth and clear face, but the rest of the image is going to look like Who Shot John. So I don't necessarily recommend doing that with that particular app. A lot of people in groups recommend it, but what they don't talk about is the fact that the face of those images become clear, but everything else about it is still very pixelated. Aw, I thank you so very much for that. I always appreciate feedback. It's great to hear, and it's good to it's always great to see thank you. Sometimes you feel like the teachers will say it's a thankless job. So hey, hold up. Speaking of which, hold on. Do I qualify for for teacher appreciation gifts? So when we're doing teacher appreciation gifts, is it like just your kids, like elementary, middle school, and high school teachers? Do like professors and stuff like that? Do they get appreciation? And then like, you know, all of the people you might learn from online, especially if you're like in my classes, do I count? Like, is there a professor appreciation week? If so, my Cash App is HSINK365. So that just, yeah, I was like, speaking of teacher, I would say it's like a thankless job, so that just triggered me for a moment there. Hey, where my appreciation at? Although, hey, appreciation for me would be continue to learn and head on over to HSInk shop.hsink365.com or just simply www.hsink365.com and enroll in an additional class or two, get some of that amazing game-changing incredible paper. That's the type of appreciation I like, stuff that's gonna help me and you. Okay. Cause see, if I get too many gift cards to like so that I can go buy coffee, I don't do like regular coffee. The coffee that I drink is very fattening. It has a lot of whipped cream and chocolate chips and caramel in it. So all that's going to do is delay this summer body that I have been working on since 1979, even though I was born in 1981. It's just going to delay, me getting this so-called the world standard of a summer body, that's all that's going to do. It's going to keep me in line and on the app at McDonald's because the steak bagel is back. Yes, God. Some people about to be sick of me. Oh, sick of me because they got steak bagels on the menu. Yes, God. Hey, yes, God. So a gift card for me will just keep me in them people lines. So I think we should just kind of avoid all of that. The best way to show appreciation to the professor is to visit shop.hsink365. Okay? Go buy some things for you to help your business. And that is recommend us to somebody and say, look, this is where you need to learn from. And on top of it, they got that bomb. She got the bomb paper. Hey. McDonald's has brought back they have brought back bagels. Although I must say, I don't really care for the bagels that they have now. I may have to go ahead and just get the steak and put that on me on one of my bagels. I don't know. They got a new bagel, different type of bagel. I don't know if I like it. Might have to have them toast mine a little extra. But they have brought back the steak and grilled onions. Yes, God. Hallelujah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can I ask about ink and printer? You most definitely can. Thank you for that. See, Jesse, that's the appreciation that I love. Continue to drop the peacocks and spread the peacock love, the beauty that are peacocks. So that is a great appreciation post. I thank you for those peacocks. I love seeing them. Sometimes when I bring a file into Silhouette Studio, another design shows up. Okay, but even before I read the rest of it, I already know you have a Mac, don't you? I'm gonna have to enlarge the image or shrink it to see the image I wanted. Why does the image show up? And so you have a Mac, don't you? Don't you? Don't you? Don't you wish you had a Windows like me? Don't you wish you had a PC like me? Don't you? Don't you? I bet you have a Mac. Ha ha ha! That is a Mac issue, not a Silhouette issue. It's a how Mac works with Silhouette. Nothing I can really do about that. No real correction for it. That just happens to be a glitch that happens in Macs. And I don't think it's really associated with any particular version because I have students that have had different versions and that still happens. So yeah, it's definitely a Mac issue. Yes, God. Well, okay, so although technically, yes, it is Android, I like to think that I am a PC and a Samsung gal. All Androids are not created equal. It's some Androids out there that look, I don't know them folk. Okay. I don't rep them. I don't advocate for them. But baby, a Samsung, yes, God, I advocate for Samsungs. Oh, I actually just cracked the back on my Samsung and I was about to talk junk because it hit the ground, but I think it's because of where it hit and the tile that was here. So I did crack the back, but it's time for a new one anyway. It's actually time for an upgrade, so I'm okay. All right, Velma, go ahead. Ask your question about ink and printer because we're about to wrap it up. Let's see. Oh, we are exactly at an hour. I did not want it to be longer than an hour. So go ahead and drop your question. I'm so excited and sad at the same time. I finally used my pigment ink and OMG, I love the colors. Okay, so where does the sad part come in at? Where does the sad part come in? Why do we have to use the Epson cartridges before we use your HS ink? So I recommend, I'm not to say that you necessarily have to, but it is best that you use the Epson cartridges first to ensure that everything is actually working with the printer. There was one of the times where I set one up, even with the Epson cartridges in there, my cyan did not print. So you don't know if the issues that you are having is a result of the refillable cartridges. What if, because a lot of people, especially with the older one, when this was happening, they would think that it was something wrong with the printer or whatever, but it was actually them, right? Like, so they did not prime the cartridges, or they left the vent plug in. And so when no ink is coming out, and it's like, okay, what's going on? What's happening with it? It's like there's really no way to tell, right? So that's like the first thing, is you are making sure that this printer is completely operational. What if you turned it on and the first thing that happens is an error pops up, right? Because that has happened to some people. It was just a bad printer. Just because it's coming from Epson doesn't mean that they're all perfect. Like, there can be malfunctions in them fresh out the box. And that has happened to some, and it went straight to an error, would not clear. So if you went straight to the refillables, you're going to be thinking that you did something wrong, when it was just, hey, this is how it came from the factory. So that's the first one, just to make sure that everything actually operates. The second thing is, if you ever need to troubleshoot a color, of something just isn't working, and you cannot continue to troubleshoot with the same exact cartridges, you would either need to have an additional set of cartridges, or you can use the Epson cartridges. With those Epson cartridges that have the eye on it, those are what's called initializing cartridges. If you do not use them in a brand new printer, they will never work again. So by putting them in first, you are essentially activating them. So if you need them for troubleshooting purposes, if you kind of just want to have those in there, because maybe you're going to be away from an extended period of time, like, you have those and they're actually going to read. So that is the second reason. The eye cartridges do not work unless they were the first cartridges put into a printer. Now, once they are initialized, you can take them out. You can put them back in if you need to, blah, 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 blah. Also, when it comes to the newer workforce printers, you can utilize those chips, right? But if you don't start with them first, you won't be able to use them. And with the issues that are going on right now, with, like, if you do a firmware update, it is basically like, you really can't, like, for some people, all the colors won't work. For some people, it's only like one color, and it's a different color for every single person. If you had to, like, temporarily put the chip on there, you didn't want to have to go buy an Epson cartridge, you can take the chip off that Epson cartridge and put it on your refillable one, but only if you started with that set of cartridges. Oh, okay, I thought it was me. Even when doing your course, it's been happening. Now I know. Concerns about the third-party chips, literally the only downside, but so far I haven't had any issues with the sets I received. Just bracing myself if I run into issues down the road. Just make sure that you do not do the firmware update. Always ignore it. Say, close it out, but never do the firmware update as of right now. We have some chips that are coming in that I guess they have updated to match the current firmware. Now, this here lies the issue, because it's an issue for us as well. If we end up having a set that only works for a certain firmware, and we have all of these, and Epson doesn't change, then it doesn't work for everyone. So then we have to have us, like, try and separate it, where if you haven't done the firmware, you can purchase these and this, that, and the third. So we do have a set coming that they said has been updated to match the new. They actually just did this update, and I guess the new firmware, they don't work on that one. So they're sending us some more. And then all the ones that we have, we're going to have to send them back to our manufacturer for them to replace those. So try not to ever do the firmware update. You are very welcome. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so very much. I thought we would do a little bit more silhouette related questions, but that's okay. I am out of here. I will maybe see you guys, or do a live video. I can't say that. Next week Friday. Actually, no, it's not next week Friday. It's the weekend after, actually Saturday. So but that's like Mother's Day and all that. That's the weekend leading into Mother's Day. So I might just to come out and say Happy Mother's Day. But yeah, probably won't. My lives are very, very limited this month. So I'm not really sure when the next live will be. The next one probably will be talking about the bachelor's, master's, and doctorate program and opening up for that one. So yeah, that'll probably be the next one. It was just a Q&A. So if you didn't have a question, then you didn't really miss an opportunity. The questions here, it wasn't anything like major. I'm not teaching anything. So it was just a live Q&A. Now, if you have a question, that's different. But if you didn't have one, you didn't miss much. Let's see. You can always go back and watch the playback of it. But you have to filter through a lot of non-question related stuff. I'm in the UK, so please, I got you live. Oh, it's 11:45. Yeah. So, they aren't that bad. You're only 4 hours. No, 5 hours. Huh. Definitely, duh, Shakeya, 6 + 5, 11. So you're 5 hours ahead of us. Okay. Ooh, it should be kind of crazy. Like, you guys have the coronation today, right? Is it today, tomorrow, something like that? So it should be very, very festive in the UK right now. So it's actually tomorrow. Okay. I had to look it up. I thought so. I'm like, I know it's like a lot of stuff going on, but his coronation is actually tomorrow. The royal family have their own YouTube page. Wait a minute. How in the heck I did not know that? They got the YouTube page. How many people? Wait a minute now. What is it called? Wow. The ceremony will also stream on the royals family YouTube page. I did not know they had a YouTube channel. How I found that? I want to see how many people. Okay. Huh. Let's see. Shout. That's interesting. Didn't know they had a YouTube page. Okay. The Royal. Oh, wow. Well, I wonder if this is theirs. It says the Royal Family Channel. There's only 104,000 subscribers to it. I would have thought it would have been more than that if this is actually theirs. So it says the Royal Family Channel. Wow. Didn't know that. Oh, wait. No. I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait. That was how many views were on that one. My bad. Nope. 100,000. So, yeah. They got 3 million subscribers. Okay. I was going to say that doesn't seem right. 104,000, but that was 104,000 views on that one particular video. Yeah. They got 3 million subscribers. Okay. You now have an additional one. Woohoo! I am subscribed to the Royal Family's YouTube channel. I've been getting my practice in with the pan tool and grad designs from class. Awesome. I have learned so much. You're amazing. Can't wait to take the Photoshop next. It's all it is over the TVs. Yeah. We're over here celebrating Cinco de Mayo, and y'all are like, look, it's coronation. We about to turn up. My question is regarding the 7840. How do I know if I update the firmware? And if so, how do I go back to the original? I don't think there's a way because they're not going to have they're not like Silhouette where they have like all of their firmwares. They're only going to keep the original firmware on there. And it's not something that really downloaded to your, the original wasn't something that you downloaded. It just came with that firmware. So there's really no way of going back. And you can look at the number. I believe if it ends in like it's like CND something 01, that means that you've done the firmware update. So, and if you do your nozzle check, it should tell you the firmware that you're running, I think. Or you just have to go to the settings to find the firmware that you are running. All right, so I am out of here, guys. Traffic should have died down by now because it's almost 7 o'clock. And I don't think that they were practicing all night long. So people, they should be going home or going back to their hotel rooms and stuff like that now. So I'm going to try and get home because I literally work and live in the heart of it. So I have to pass by or pass through all of the heavy traffic because we're right by Hard Rock Stadium. And I got to pass through all this traffic. And I wasn't trying to sit in traffic all night. So hopefully it is over and done with. So if I update it and it's not reading the chips, should I get a new one? If you are within your return window, I mean, you can try that. If you purchased a protection plan, you can technically do that. I mean, it's nothing wrong with the printer itself. It's just that the third-party chips will not read. So your recourse at that point would be to purchase Epson cartridges. This is what we had to do when these printers first came out. There were no third-party chips for them. So what you had to do was purchase Epson cartridges and harvest the chips off of the Epson cartridges and put them on your refillable ones if you wanted to use it for sublimation. So that's really the only option that you would have if it's like not reading. Hopefully, I know for some people it's just one color. So all they have to really do is get that one chip for like that one particular color because all the rest of them will read. Now, if it's like all of them, yeah, printer's not going to work unless it's an actual Epson cartridge. So that part is up to you on how you want to go, going forward. And I'm pretty sure at some point the current firmware will come standard on the printers. So just simply going to go get a new one, it still may not read if it came standard on that particular one. So we do carry the gray ink. As far as the photo black, there is no such thing as photo black sublimation ink. There is no such thing as photo black sublimation ink. Photo black simply means pigment ink, right? So you have dye-based inks, you have pigment inks, you have sublimation inks, you have eco-solvent inks, you have DTF ink, you have edible inks and things like that, right? So, or it's either like, so your photo black is basically pigmented, meaning that it does not run if it gets wet. Dye-based ink runs. So it's not that it's a richer black or anything like that. So as an 8550, they have the photo black ink, which is pigment, and the other black is just dye-based ink that will run. In the world of sublimation, since there is none, all you have to do is put black ink in both of those reservoirs. Now, when it comes to the gray, it really only helps when it comes to black and white. And even then, it technically doesn't help, right? It actually can mess up your colors. Before a gray ink came out, you have so many people who just simply put nothing there. If nothing ever goes in there, there is no heat when it comes to Epson printers. So unlike certain HPs or Canon printers, where if you don't have ink going through it, you will burn out your print head. Because there is no ink, no heat whatsoever, it is okay to omit the gray ink from that particular tank. Because it's dye-based ink, you still aren't going to get true black and whites, because when you print grays from a dye-based printer, like all the other eco tanks, it has like a reddish tone, a purplish tone to it. You're not going to get a true gray anyway. So we have it. We don't really sell much of it because I'm always saying that you really don't need it. Kind of shot myself in the foot with that one. But when it comes to the photo black, you're not going to see that on our site. But if you see right here, like you have the ones where it's like 2 or like, and the gray. So you can click on here and it'll say 6 colors. You are going to get 2 blacks, the cyan, magenta, yellow, and the gray. So then most likely you probably did the firmware update. If none of them are reading, then you're probably on the firmware update and they're just not reading. Do you have to print often to keep the ink from drying, both sublimation and pigment? So it's not a matter of it really drying up. Why people will say that you have to print often, it really depends on like the ink that you are using. It doesn't like if you're using a cartridge based printer, it does not dry up. Like it's not going to dry out like that fast. But when you're using an EcoTank printer, you want to print, fair, like, often. You don't have to print every day. Like some people say, you don't have to print every single day. But you want to print often because there are tubes in there. And for any printer that has lines, like actual lines, like my Roland, I have to let that cycle through every so often, because if you don't and it settles, your ink will back up. And then once it backs up, you don't have like constant ink like sitting on top of the print head. And once it does flow, you are pushing air into the print head, like the air that is like, waiting for it to flow back. You're pushing that into the print head, and that can cause issues. But if you have a cartridge based one, it's like there are no lines. The ink literally sits on top of like the print head. It's right at the channels. So it just really depends on the printer that you have. On my workforce printer, I've gone 4 weeks, absolutely nothing, no issues. I've gone 6 weeks intentionally to test it so that I can show you guys, and one time unintentionally. And with that one, one of the times, absolutely nothing happened. Went to go, I just did a regular print head cleaning because it was, just been there so long. Everything printed. On another occasion when I did it, 2 colors just weren't printing properly. I pushed air. Once magenta started working, the cyan I had to push air twice. Boom, back working. EcoTank printers, that thing stopped working, and I haven't been able to get it back. So we've basically wasted because it won't come back. Like the ink just will not flow on our 7820 and our 77. I'm sorry, on our 2720 and our 2803. They're just gone. Like they just will not work. And one of them we were printing pretty much every day. We were printing the packing slips from it, or at least like the shipping manifest every single day. And that one still just stopped working. So that's why I don't like EcoTank printers. They can back up and they're harder to get back going than cartridge-based printers. Yeah, see, if you see, she has a 7820 and she uses, our ink and cartridges. If you've never done it, it will still work. But once you've done that firmware, because of the way that these particular, like on the older workforces, if you did a firmware update, it did absolutely nothing to them. But they also, because you also were able to have chips that can be reset. With this set that came out, they are not able to be reset. They are a single use, and each one has to have a serial number. So if that serial number doesn't account, like they didn't create that serial number with that firmware, programmed in, it's just not going to work. So the way Epson made these, every time there's an update, they do an update, the chips have to be updated as well. All right. So, definitely want to reach an hour and a half. All right, y'all. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Be incredible. Don't forget to visit the website. We have digital files, great for, just plug and play for your fans and your yard signs and things like that. Under the HSINK Digital, there is a link to go straight to the graduation templates. We have classes. I need to change this. These are not current live trainings. Nothing is live right now. With all of these, you will be getting the playbacks of them. But we do have some recent trainings. So definitely go and check that out to see if any of the teachings, files, or products, you have a need for at this time. All right, y'all. Until next time. Peace.